Our next topic is how Deebo will improve with Trey Lance. I've seen a lot of people say, well, Deebo wasn't a good fit with Trey. I mean, Deebo doesn't have the best hands. He's going to have trouble catching Trey's passes. Plus, Trey's going to be throwing deep, and Deebo's more over the middle. His numbers are going to go down.
I mean, what are we, Grant. First of all, even the most, unless you have Russell Wilson at quarterback, even the most aggressive offenses down the field are still going to attack the middle of the field, short and intermediate. Like, how many times do you think he's going to be throwing a 9 route to Brandon Ayuk in a game, realistically? Because I see this all the time. How many times do you think he'll do it realistically? It'll be 1 or 2 times in 2 or 3 games.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes they'll throw a corner post to Kittle. It's not going to be every play. They're going to drop him back like he's Jamar Chase and this is Joe Burrow. They're going to put him in empty and they're going to throw go balls to Brandon Ayuk. That's just not how it's going to work. Ayuk isn't that kind of player, and that's just not how this offense is structured. It's the worst argument I've seen. It aggravates me. I punch the air. I drop my phone. This pisses me off.
Well, let me tell you how I see it, and tell me if this pisses you off. I don't think it will. The way I see it is Deebo was one of the most explosive players in the league this year with Jimmy as his quarterback. Like, among the league leaders in catches over 40 yards, among the league leaders in catches over 20 yards, all with Jimmy's limitations. With Trey, there's just more ways for there's more ways for Deebo Samuel to be explosive. So he's already shown he can be explosive on slants, screens, and in the running game. But now he'll be able to be explosive on posts and go routes. And all like a whole different area of the field. Like, I actually think he's going to have probably more 40-yard catches than last year.
If I watched every throw of Trey Lance in college multiple times. He is phenomenal, or he was in college. He hasn't been as much in the NFL. He's been a step late in his recognition and his ability to throw it. But in terms of being able to throw in the quick game, being able to process it, get the ball out of his hands quickly over the middle of the field, he was phenomenal at doing it in college. I thought that was the best thing he did. I actually liked it better than the down the field throwing. I thought the down the field throwing was inconsistent. It was sometimes accurate, sometimes inaccurate. This was consistent. So I don't understand it.
Especially compared to Justin Fields, right?
Especially, it was the opposite with Justin Fields. The down the field accuracy was unbelievable. The short to intermediate and just getting rid of the ball was a little bit questionable. So it was kind of the dichotomy in both of them. I preferred Fields. It's looking like Lance is trending because of his situation and maybe even his talent to being the better player. I feel like there was some things I underestimated with Trey Lance looking back, honest to God. But not to get into that discussion, do you think he's not going to be able to throw a screen to Deebo Samuel?
Right.
Do you think that all of a sudden, because he's the quarterback, they're not going to throw a screen to Deebo Samuel? You know how easy it is for this offense when you could throw a screen to a guy and he's going to take it 83 yards on 3rd and 15 and score a touchdown?
Right. And what I've noticed, I'm really focused on explosiveness today. Big plays, big freaking plays. And we know Deebo brings them, but we know Jimmy Garoppolo limits them. And everyone's trying to make the argument for, why Trey Lance is better or why Jimmy Garoppolo is better. And people that are Jimmy's loyalists will always point to completion percentage. Like, well, Jimmy's was 68. Trey's was 57. That's a huge drop off. You can't be successful like that. Well, I think what's more important is big plays. And in 441 attempts last year, Jimmy had 8 throws that went for more than 8 yards. This personnel should be more explosive. He's limited.
It's the old Cam Newton argument.
I'm just saying. It's the
old Cam Newton argument, because Cam Newton used to throw the ball 10, 15 yards down the field. I mean, every throw they would have him make was a high degree of difficulty throw. If he's going to do that, he's only going to complete 60% of his passes. We saw one year with Norv Turner, if you make him throw a bunch of screens and a bunch of swing passes, he can complete 68% of his passes.
But what's interesting about Lance, though,
is accuracy or efficiency.
It's true, but with Lance, they still call a bunch of short. They're going to 70% of his pass attempts are going to be short throws. But he's going to take some shots. And in those 2.5 games, he hit 3 big throws. And we all remember, and people nitpicked him, he didn't hit him in stride or whatever. 3 in 2.5 games. Jimmy had 8 in 15. So Trey Lance actually –
who are 2 of them too?
Deebo! Okay. Down the field. And so I'm saying, like, actually with Lance, even if Lance isn't a top 10 quarterback as a rookie, this offense is going to be way more explosive because of Lance. I mean, and because I feel like Deebo has shown his explosiveness. Ayuk and Kittle right now are looking like they're not explosive. And maybe that's just because of Jimmy. Maybe with Lance on the field, all of a sudden Kittle will be catching the ball down the field. Ayuk will be catching the ball down the field. I mean, it could be one of the more explosive offenses in the league.
What did Shaq Griffin get paid last year? He got paid, $15 million a year in free agency. He was the highest paid corner in free agency. Do you remember the Monday night game where rookie Deebo Samuel just ran by him, pure speed down the field?
Yeah. And that's what we're going to actually see with the new quarterback. Anoop says Deebo, Bosa will lead us to a Super Bowl win, lock them up.
Yes, lock them both up. Yes.
The Niners don't have the guts to trade either one of those guys. That Niner guy says, I did want to trade Kittle, but if I had to trade Deebo or Kittle, I would trade Kittle. He did. Okay. There was really no debate there. Niners will pay Kittle. I agree with everything.
I think he said, I didn't want to trade Kittle. Yeah.
I agree with that. Deebo is in an interview said he's not going to Cali and that Trey has to come to him to work out. Chemistry issues being traded. Deebo. He really said that?
No. Well, okay. First of all, if you're deep, I'm sorry. And this makes more sense to me because I've never lived in California. Why the hell would anybody want to live in California unless they wanted to work there? Why would I want to pay for a house there?
Or unless you're from there. Like, yeah. I'm from here. I want to be here. But if you're like grew up in freaking South Carolina and you come here, you're like, whoa, what? Yeah. Pay for the plastic bags? No, paper bags.
Yeah, that's why Deebo's in Florida. And I hate, that was the other thing I saw on Twitter that really pissed me off. Why isn't he out there working? I mean, has Deebo Samuel done anything over the last 3 years for anybody to question how much he loves football or how much he works at football or anything like that?
Fair point. No one questions George Kittle, right? Ron says trade Deebo while his value is at his highest. It'll never be this high again. He's going to get hurt with defenses keying on him this year. Hey, man. See what I'm saying? Ron. Hey, Ron, but what did you say when I said trade Kittle, though, Ron?
See, that's the thing, though. If defenses aren't keying on Kittle or Deebo, excuse me, this offense isn't the same.
No, it's not. M. Niner says, does this Deebo situation influence a Jimmy exit? I don't see how.
I don't think so. I mean, I just saw a report this morning. I tweeted it that apparently Carolina, don't rule out Carolina and Baker Mayfield. People said mutual disinterest, but it could end up being a thing. He's getting cut. There's no place for him to go.
Elway career completion percentage 56.9 says Darnay Harvey. Marino 59.4. Yeah, I mean, it's really somewhat a function of the offense.
Yeah, it's a function of the offense. It's also a function of the era.